What's good, y'all? It's Rickey the Cut Creator Burton here with the Power of Prison podcast. My host Zach. Today we're going to be talking about breaking generational curses and building generational wealth. What that looks like.
All right. So first things first, like, share, and subscribe, please.
Like, share, and subscribe.
We are definitely doing this for a reason. We're doing this for the people. All right. So first question: breaking generational curses and building generational wealth. What does that mean to you?
Well, breaking generational curses and building generational wealth means a lot. That's big because there are a lot of families suffering from generational curses for the fact that you weren't taught. So we don't know. Our parents didn't know. They didn't teach it to us, So that's why breaking generational curses are so hard, and ultimately making building generational wealth even that much harder.
Okay. So what is a generational curse?
To me, generational curses are bad habits that have been passed down from generation to generation to generation. And when I say bad habits, I mean that like things that we weren't taught, right? So we don't know. So typically you assume or you use what you call common sense, not knowing that the things that we are teaching don't help build generational wealth. But we didn't know this. We weren't taught this. So these generational curses, they hunker down on families so heavily from generation to generation for the lack of knowledge. We didn't know. So breaking it is going to be hard for everybody that doesn't know. How can you apply a knowledge, a technique, even that you don't even know? You can't even teach what you don't know.
And this is how it's passed down just by not knowing, and it's like a tradition to the people.
Yeah, because I look at it like the fact that we weren't taught this and things like this in school, and the fact that we don't know because we weren't taught these things in school by the people that know these things. The things that we do pass down, we start to look at these things as true, and building a foundation for our families upon these truths, and then these truths get passed down to the next generation. The next generation take these truths that we pass down to them and they hold them dear to their heart because mommy taught me this and daddy taught me this. But not knowing, they just learned or took some teachings from two people that weren't taught.
Okay.
So now we keep passing down this ignorance from generation to generation, while the people that have the knowledge on how to build generational wealth keep getting richer.
Okay. What about generational curses are hindering families for so many years?
The fact that they hold these things to be true. So these things that we think, or that our family, my mom and her mom and my grandmom and aunts and uncles taught us that they learned, or the things that they taught us that they weren't taught, if you understand what I'm saying, the things that they taught us that they weren't taught are the things that we look at as true. Once again, we look at those things as true because of the mouths that it came from, that we respect these people so much and they must know what they're talking about. So this is how we're going to take our family to the next level, not knowing that it's like being on a treadmill. We just running in place because we don't even have the knowledge to get the tools necessary to be able to even begin building generational wealth.
All right, so you kind of explained how to break generational curses, but can you like reverse it? Is it possible to reverse a curse?
Yeah, you can reverse a generational curse. You know, I guess it's going to take one of those brave family members that is going to hold their ground. And, but first of all, you got to go get the knowledge. You got to go get the knowledge before you can even bring it to family members and want to hold your ground and tell them this is what I just read out of a book. You have to really go do your homework, study, learn the things that you need to learn to be able to feed your family members what they need to be able to understand exactly what generational wealth is and ultimately how it can propel families into a different stratosphere for generations.
Okay, so who exactly are you getting the knowledge from?
You have to go seek it out. You have to get it from the people who you see building generational wealth. You have to get it from the people who you see have already built generational wealth. Those are the people you go get it from. If you want to learn how to shoot a jump shot, you don't just go to any NBA player. You go to the ones who shoot jump shots the best. And that's how you're going to learn how to shoot jump shots. So as far as who you go to be able to build that type of generational wealth, you have to go to people who have done this before, who know what it takes to build generational wealth, who understand that generational wealth, if especially if you're the trailblazer, the person initiating the charge, you might not get to see any of that. You might not get to see the bulk of it. It might be 2-3 generations later, but as long as you plant the seed the right way, that generational wealth will sprout and continue to grow.
Hmm. Why do you think they never taught us about generational wealth in school?
Because you know, I think the people with the knowledge like to or used to, because now there a lot of people are giving up knowledge. A lot of people are waking up. A lot of guys with the money, they're actually like reaching out to help the ones who they see have potential to actually do what they're doing or surpass what they're doing. So I commend them for that. But they didn't want us to know about generational wealth before because the people that had the knowledge wanted to keep the knowledge for themselves. Because you kind of lose power if you give too many people the key. But the flip side to that is you gain power when you give a lot of people the key. You know, because now you go down as the one who gave them access. We're forever endowed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you go down as the one who opened the door for us to feed our families for generations to come.
Okay. How does generational wealth start? How does one even get it started? Like, how do you? Because you're starting from ground zero, basically. How do you start it?
Well, like I said before, first you go do your homework. You got to go do your homework, you know, and you got to really study because this thing is not just a fly by night thing. You really have to get in the books. You have to read. You have to get around people who know the arena that you're playing in, you know, and get around the all stars. Don't just get around the players. Maybe at first you're gonna have to get around the players to be able to get to the all stars, you know. But that's what you have to do. You have to thrust yourselves in those in that community, those the people who are doing the things at a high rate, at a successful rate that you want to do. That's how you do it. You get around those type of people. You read those type of books. You study, you ask a million questions, you keep your ears open, you keep an open mind, a very, very open mind. And you make sure that you're like a sponge, soak up everything that you can possibly soak up, that is going to help give you the tools to be able to be the trailblazer for your family, be the initiator, the originator for your family.
Okay. Why is it so important for every family to have generational wealth, in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, it's extremely imperative for families, especially Black families, because a lot of Black families weren't given these tools, or weren't taught these tools, or weren't provided with these pieces of knowledge, right? So it's even more important now for parents, grandparents, and I say grandparents because nowadays grandparents are younger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a grandparent. So um, it's even more important now for families to go and seek that knowledge that can ultimately free your family for generations to come. You got to go seek that knowledge. It has to be somebody brave enough to say, to step outside the box and say, no, this is not it. This is not it. This is it. And I'm going to go learn it, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to teach it to y'all. And this is how we're going to elevate from here on out.
What do you want as far as wealth for you and your family?
I want the world for us. I'm not gonna lie. I want the world for us. As far as me and my family, what I want as far as generational wealth is concerned is I want us to be so well informed that it gets to the point where we could teach each other, not just one person teaching it down to everybody else, even though that's how it's gonna start. But I want us to be so well informed when it comes to generational wealth that we can build it in our sleep, because that's the purpose. That's the objective. I want us to be able to pass it down I want my daughters to be able to pass it down to their kids. I want to pass it down to my nieces and nephews, my sister, my brothers, my mom, my aunts, and my cousins. And so they could pass it down to their kids. Their kids could pass it down to their kids. And then ultimately, that's how generational wealth is built and sustained. Because you can build it, now you got to sustain it. And sustaining it comes in the way you teach, the way you raise the kids moving forward. Like with us in school, we weren't taught anything about generational wealth. That was something you probably heard on TV, or you probably read about it in a newspaper when you're reading about the President Bush or the Clintons or the Obamas, like stuff like that. That wasn't anything that seemed even feasible, because once again, we didn't even know. I didn't know what generational wealth was, but you have these wealthy kids that come from real wealthy, multi million-dollar families, and these billion-dollar families. And they grow up from young learning about generational wealth and learning what to do with their money and how to invest their money and how to invest their money in a way where they'll get a significant return, things like that. They learned about credit. In our community where I was raised, credit meant you owed somebody.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't say, teach us the real credit that you can use to leverage money and use credit to get automobiles and properties and
That's true.
things like that. So those were things that we were never taught, not even a little bit of, not even in college.
Mm-hmm.
So these were things I learned in prison. So it's about going out there and making sure I ingest all the knowledge I can and feed it to my family the right way, feed it to my daughters, my grandkids, to make sure that they understand the importance of continuing the generational wealth. So our family members behind us, my great grandkids, my great cousins and stuff like that, my daughters as well, nieces and nephews, they don't have to worry. They don't have to worry about going out there to work for somebody. Nah, you can work for the family business, the family corporation, not
So
business, corporation. Because like once the type of generational wealth that I want to build is to the point where it's intercontinental, international, like that. So I get the importance of me being diligent when it comes to learning and obtaining more knowledge.
you said that you learned about wealth inside prison. So did that actually spark the ideas for your future endeavors inside of what you're doing now?
Yeah, you could say so. You could say it lit a spark in me. I didn't know it was going to be to the point where I would be doing real estate and you know interested in having properties in this state and having properties on in this island. I didn't think it would get to the point where I would sit down with the mayor and we're having discussions and debates, not debates, but conversations about how we can better the community and get funding, discretionary funding, partnerships, contracts with different organizations that can help better the community. I didn't know it would be to this magnitude, and still growing fast, expeditiously, still growing, So I didn't see this, but I embrace it. I embrace it. Everything that I've gone through along the way up until this point has prepared me to embark on this next journey.
Okay. All right. So in closing, generational wealth. Can you give me your thoughts on that and its importance?
Generational wealth is extremely important. It's imperative. If you want to be the person or persons that help take your family out of poverty, help free your family, help take the shackles that the government has on your family off, or the shackles that y'all have on yourselves for lack of knowledge, which is ignorance. To, to lack knowledge is a form of ignorance, or to let yourself soak in a pool of lack of knowledge is ignorance, I should say. So, like, you want to go out there and you want to learn this thing, learn about generational wealth, learn about money, learn about money. Go out there and take some financial literacy classes. Get you a financial advisor, or just sit down and talk to a financial advisor so you can understand money. These are things that they never tell us. So generational wealth is extremely important for freeing your family. Everybody needs to do it. Everybody needs to embark on this journey for freeing your family. We watch so many families do it right in front of our eyes, right in front of our eyes, how they get all these tax breaks, how they do this. But everything was done right in the back office, the paperwork, the taxes, the this, the that, and those are all things you got to go out and learn and then bring back to the family. Because guess what? Like I said, the family didn't know because they weren't taught. So the importance of you going out there to do it and being the one to do it for your family. Like I'm doing it for mine, and I'm definitely gonna make sure that we're in a position that where we could pass down a whole bunch of wealth, all types of wealth, from generation to generation to generation when it comes to the Burtons and building the Burton brand, you know, and whatever sprouts from that, sprouts from that. But it is extremely important to embark on a journey of building generational wealth. Why? And I'm gonna leave you with this. Because ultimately, that's gonna reverse the effects of the generational curse. Y'all have a great day. We ain't gonna keep y'all too long. Like and subscribe, share. Like, subscribe, and share. Y'all have a great day.
Perfect.